Good afternoon, Dr. Mohan and Ran. I'm Fatan Chana from ABC Center of Excellence. So just now we saw that the two cases, Brisbane offshore and also Hard offshore. So in your opinion, what are the reasons that impede the progression of that court verdict on that? Because we also want to know because it will be the precedent case for Section 17 Capital A. So in your opinion, thank you.
Well, it's a difficult question for me, although I highlight that this is the problem. But for me to answer what is happening, actually I don't know, to be honest with you, I do not know. But typically when you charge a person, the investigation would have already been done. Okay, so they have all the evidence and so on. Okay, then the process must continue. We do not know why it's stagnant. So I only can tell you that because I'm not sure what is the reason. Where is the hiccup, or maybe because typically before they charge a person, the investigation papers are sent to the AG's chambers. They will look at it and they say, yeah, there is a good chance to convict this person, and then they will proceed. So I stops there. I think the best party to answer is probably the MECC or something like that. Huh? So I may not be able to give that answer because I really don't know the answer. But the reason I highlighted this is because this is what our business community is talking about. When you talk about adequate procedure, yeah, we have two cases, yeah, we heard about the case, but don't know why. So they are so confident that they won't be charged. That kind of attitude. Especially this one is a problem with SMEs. SMEs don't take it very seriously. The bigger companies, no problem. You go and see they have the adequate procedure, they have the macam-macam program. They do a lot of programs, training, all levels, because the directors in the board, they're very, very concerned. So the compliance officer have to, in every board meeting, they will be queried. Tapi yang syarikat-syarikat SME ni, yang kecil ni, where the owner is the director and he and his wife, but they are quite big. Some of them, when we are very small SME, turnover 100 million. So they are big. And these are the dangerous ones because they are the ones offering. Remember just now I said one of the possible factors of stagnation, I said businesses. I'm really focusing on these kind of companies. To receive bribe, you need to have a giver one. So that fellow may make it difficult and then this side will be ready to offer. So it continues. No? And yet they will complain. But you ask them, they will tell you, what do you want me to do? I need the approval. I need to execute the project. But I don't have approval from the authorities, I cannot proceed. So nak buat macam mana? Dia minta, saya kena bagilah. Then semua lancar. So this is where the problem. That's why Section 17A was specifically put for this. But I hope you understand. Huh? I only can give you that answer up to there. I do not know what exactly happened. Even we are curious. We hope to get some answers. If there is no case or what, then they should just drop the case. That's all. See? Okay? Thanks. Any other questions?
Hi, Doctor.
Yes.
Haris from Shikini.
Okay.
I want to ask, I think as you are aware, towards the end of last year, this Sabah corruption scandal surfaced. Does this CPI, does this case, affected this, have any effect? Because it's towards the end of the year. And do you think that the Sabah corruption scandal might affect this year's CPI, especially given, there's no concrete action so far, nobody has been arrested as well and what do you think of the Sabah corruption scandal? Thank you.
Okay, again perception, isn't it? Huh? Okay, first part you asked whether in our current year score, this has made an influence. Very likely no, because this happened at the tail end of the year. Okay, normally August, September, they consolidate all the data. So maybe it's not captured, but it could capture in 2025 because it's perception. Okay, so that is where we are now, and so on. But just one important point, because the issue here is whether the person is a whistleblower or not, not, okay. But in our country, current law under the WPA, Whistleblower Protection Act, they can only report to the enforcement agencies. Kalau you report out of the enforcement agency, then you can't. Okay, so I don't want to speculate what is the reason why the person chose not to report, even though he had a chance. So technically you cannot call him a whistleblower in our country's law, because you decided to expose it to the media and so on, and then that becomes a challenge at this point based on our law. Okay, so it might affect our next year's data. Okay, next question please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Thank you so much Dr. Mohan, and congratulations to Transparency International Malaysia untuk organize dan make realize today's session also. Saya Nur Hayati, daripada Rasuah Busters. Doktor, saya nak tanya, any possible effort yang kita boleh buat to actually learn for best practices, for example from Singapore paling dekat, and Malaysia, I think this year is chairman for Asian, right? So boleh tak kita jadikan ini satu agenda yang sepatutnya diangkat dalam mesyuarat ataupun program-program yang kita akan adakan bersama negara ASEAN. I think that could be the best opportunity. Which I will be your response, sir. Thank you.
Okay. You said Singapore, and I would like to just stop there, because although we are the chair of ASEAN, remember being a chair, country becoming a chair of the ASEAN, dia setahun saja. They go rotation. Okay? And very little we can do on this within that period. Okay, my personal view is when it comes to fighting corruption, I think for Malaysia, before we talk about other countries, because if you look other than Singapore and maybe Brunei, other countries are also behind, way behind us. So I think the benchmark for us, because we have to look after ourselves first, Malaysia. All right, we have to look after ourselves. So the only benchmark I can think of is Singapore. Alright, now why is it Singapore can do it and we are not able to do it? Fundamental thing is efficiency. Because even in some of our surveys, by the way, later I'll talk about judiciary. I told you, I promised you I'll speak about judiciary. You talk about bureaucracy and government efficiency. In some of the surveys, this is a question. Even though TI actually picks up on the part of corruption, but the survey, the person who is responding, before he come to the corruption component, he have to answer other question. Is it easy to do business? Score 1 to 6. Is government bureaucracy a challenge for you? Score 1 to 6. Is public sector efficiency a factor, or score 1 to 6? So bila you have application or anything that you do, for example, some cases I've given lots of examples before, where you have already got a job, tender, you win the tender, now you want to execute the job. That's where the problems start. Because bila you apply for all these agencies for approval, you get stuck there. So I think one of the things we can learn from Singapore is how are they able to get this speed, efficiency. Setting up a company within, let's say, 20 days or 10 days, you must do it. And it must be measured. We send an application to this thing, sometimes 3 bulan, no answer. Follow up, dalam kajian or some kind of this thing. Bulan keempat you pergi, masih lagi. Bulan kelima you pergi, file hilang. That opens the door for corruption. And I'm telling you all this, ini kisah benar, orang bagi tahu kita. Cuma dia, I don't know why they don't want to go and report. Their explanation is, kita pun cari makan, we also surviving, why should we report? So it's a perpetual issue. Jadi I think, in my opinion, even though we are chair of ASEAN, I think the focus should be more how we can improve ourselves. And the best reference is Singapore. Hopefully with the Johor, economic zone, and the cooperation between Johor state and this thing, hopefully that will spill over. So I think we have the best in Singapore to learn. How is it that they can be very efficient? Okay? Any other questions? Yes.
Can I get your last slide?
Last slide?
Last slide, please. The very last slide.
Look back.
About the vision.
Oh, okay. Prime Minister's vision.
Yeah.
How to get it very fast? Can you do it?
Not moving this side.
Can you move on that side for the others can see? This one. Yes. No signal. Why no signal? Okay. Yeah.
First, the figure is 2033, right? Not 25.
No, what I mean here,
Top 25
top 25 by top 25.
in 2023.
Okay, that's what you mean.
The reason why, I mean, look, this is not a national, national this thing. Ini TI yang buat lah. The reason is when we do this vision, this thing, when number orang senang faham lah. 2025, I must by 2033, I must be top 25. That's all. I mean, just we created this. So please don't take it as a Prime Minister said 2533. Tomorrow it becomes someone go and takes a number.
My name is Paula Singh.
Okay.
I'm a member of TI Malaysia. I was in the EXCO for a long time. That was in 2013 when Paul Leong was the president. Okay, my question is that now we have a vision, and PM has given a vision. I love it that we have a vision within 8 years. We will achieve within the 25. We will achieve placing of within the 25. But no, you don't look, you don't just go there, right? You will have to go gradually, step by step, step by step. Let me see the figures. Next year, 2027, 2028, that's how we move. We move by step, but we don't jump from now 50 to 25. I think that is a major task. Okay, so in Malaysia, we are so fond of coming up with these statements that will please the rakyat. Oh, we're going to get rid, we're going to combat corruption, and we're going to be the top 25 by 2033 lah. And but the action is not there.
Okay, Dr. Paula, can you come to the question? What is the question you're saying?
No, the question. No, I'm just giving some comments like
Yeah.
that. While
Okay.
you are saying this, you are saying that.
Okay.
But there's nothing from the government to say I support TI, I support what you're saying. Example, even coming here, if the Prime Minister and the KSN, you praise the KSN for saying that, he is committed to eradicating poverty. He will send one officer here and say, yeah, I want to listen to TI and give me your feedback. Nobody from here.
No, there are people from BPGN who is under MACC who works very closely with the thing. They are already here.
MACC, yes, but I'm saying within the Prime Minister's department and within the KSN's department, because they are the fresh ones who have come up with this. So what I'm just saying, we are talking, but right now we don't see any action that they are interested. They want to know what is the problem. So at least
Can
from
cut off,
there
I
you
think.
take on.
Can
So basically it is. I think
Okay.
the problem about us is that the execution is very poor. Okay, you can say all the policy guidelines, you can say these policies, this.
don't have much time.
But you don't seem to be taking even small steps to reach that goal.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay.
So let's not get too excited, which I think TIM is falling into that trap when they make a commitment, this. Oh, very nice, very good. No, you have to actually ask the government again. If you are serious, tell me your time plan. Tell me your timetable. Give me more information. Then I will believe what you say. But if you just give one, I'm going to go from here to there.
Okay.
Can.
To me,
Thanks.
it's meaningless.
Okay. Thank you, Paula.
Let's take one, two. Hi, Dr. Pushpan from Civil Center. Now, a bit of a tricky question in the sense that we have a major nexus between politicians, VIPs, with the business communities. And you can see a lot of issues in terms of land grabs, abuse of land titles, abuse of land giving up. So, in that context, how does that actually impact a view on CPI? That's one. Now, with that nexus of play, politicians, VIP involved in land. And you also have now SEZ coming up in Johor, where there is potentially an abuse of how this money flow can come in. Wouldn't that also lead us to consider that factor when it comes to fighting corruption in a bigger sense? Because CPI addresses certain aspects of corruption, but doesn't handle our grand corruption issues. Perhaps you can comment on those initiatives that we can put forward to actually look at both angles, not just petty corruption, but the bigger picture of grand corruption. Thank you.
Yes. You see, the CPI is actually a perception index, as I mentioned earlier. And true that not everything can be captured because this is a perception. Who are the respondents? Mostly are the business people. All right. So certain things like land grab and all this, when it comes in the news, like just now the question came up about the Sabah video scandal. Now that became a very big story. And then public is waiting why no action has been taken. Although the Chief Commissioner of MACC has already give a statement on that action has been taken, the papers are given, and he will be updating, I think, the public on this thing. So I think only when it becomes a story, then it is being captured sometimes. So I must say that the CPI is not a indicator of covering everything, grand and petty corruption and so on. There could be some, it will be captured and so on. Now, to give you an example, why when the former Prime Minister, he was charged and the case, proceeded in the SRC case, why that particular year in 2019 you see a rebound? So that is an immediate impact. The big stories that has a big impact, that the respondents feel that, yeah, there is something happening in this country moving forward and so on. But when you have, like I said, when you have a DNA, a series of DNA, especially on high profile cases, then of course it's a dampening effect, immediately it will come down. So only when you have a big story, then it can be captured, like in the case of land grab and so on. Otherwise, sometimes it's not there, So as I said here, as just now some of you have asked, yeah, it is not an easy task to get this top 25, but something has to be done. Somebody has to do something about it. So that is why I said that a task force has been formed, groups are inside there, there's focus group inside there, all the government agencies are, but I must say it is not easy. To get a buy-in from the civil servants is also a challenge, because for so many years they have been set in their mind that this is perception, reality is something else. Even until today, some of them will argue, I've done a lot of things, who says we are not doing anything? But they don't see it. So, but this remains a challenge, but that is something that we have to work through. It will take time, but I think that's the direction we should go. Okay, Pushpan? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
You keep saying that it takes time, taking time. How confident are you that we are able to reach the target to 2023? What are the chances, probabilities of achieving the target?
Well, I'm not in a position to give guarantee that I don't run the government. Okay, all right. But all I can tell you is it's the dream given, but we have to work towards it. What TI is trying to do, what we are trying to do is to tell the government that you see the tagline at the bottom. What did I say? All this dream must be translated into action. If you don't get into action, then you're not going to see anything. I gave you a series of reforms that they did not carry out. How do you expect the score to go up? So if you ask me, are you confident or not, I cannot say anything. Only time will tell over the period. But I think in the 5th year or 4th year, if you are still in the 50, then you know the answer. It's not easy, to get there. But you have to work for it. Everybody got to work for it. So, in closing, I would just say, if there are no other questions, I think in closing, I just gave this example. In 1963, I used to talk about this in the focus group. President Kennedy said that by end of this decade, America will put a man on the moon and return him back safely to Earth. He was assassinated in 63. He was gone. He was not even there. In 69, America did go to the moon and came back safely. So what I'm trying to say is, leaders give that vision. And of course, they must provide enablers, facilitate. That's why this focus group has been formed, task force has been formed, and to do this. If you don't do anything, then we can talk the same thing every year. You all know very well. Last 6 years I've been sitting here and talking about it. Did it improve? It just goes up, come down, goes up, come down. And sort of you are able to predict the next 5 years already. So but at least they have put in some effort. Of course, they have to work within those things now, and so on. So how confident am I? I can't promise you. I don't run the government. I only can help whatever help they need. So that's all I can do. Okay? Are there any other questions? If not, Oh, you have online questions? 2. Okay, can you read them quickly? Or you come here. No, there is a mic.
Over here, got mic.
Hello, okay, I will be reading questions from online. There are a total of 2 questions. So the first one is from Mr. Bala Krishnan. Other countries in ASEAN, do they have provision for protection for whistleblower? And we may not have, is it? Okay, that's the first question.
Whistleblower protection.
The second question is from Sue Menon. Should anti-corruption be made a topic or subject as part of the school education curriculum to teach from young? Okay, that's the 2 questions.
Okay, and first part of the question, is there a whistleblower act in other countries, ASEAN countries? To my knowledge, Malaysia has a standalone act, but in other ASEAN countries, like in Thailand and so on, it come under their Anti-Corruption Act. There is a provision there. There is a provision inside there where it's a guideline how to report. But I don't know of any other ASEAN country that have a standalone act, but we have. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is, the question is, should it be taught at the young age at the curriculum? In fact, if you look at the NACS, under the Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia's sub-strategy in the NACS, there is a provision for them to include that in their syllabus. At the university level, they are already a subject, compulsory. Now the government has made it compulsory. And last time it was an elective paper, but now it's compulsory. I think in the first semester they go, or second semester they have to sit for this paper. But at the school level, it's part of, it's work in progress. Okay? All right, if there are no other questions, I would like to thank all of you for taking your time on a holiday to come and find out what is the results for the CPI. And once again, I want to thank everybody for making time. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
Just want to say bye to
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the release of the Corruption Perception Index 2024. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to once again express our sincere